Okay, welcome to my second video cast for Team Franco Bodybuilding. And I just want to say I got some really good ideas on the Team Franco forum, and actually I'm going to take one and run with it and put a little spin on it. And that one is back training. I'm going to talk about, and I will get into the specific exercises and the physiology and the order and the rep range that I like to do, but a little background on the back training I think is important. Many years ago, when you first started working out, back training was not always a priority. It was about your biceps and your chest, the show muscles, the ones that are going to show off. It wasn't really about, and then your shoulders, because you want to make your upper body a little bit wider, and then hopefully some leg training. But back training, it's through my experience, was on the burner. It was on the back burner, to say the least. It was simply because you can't see the muscles working, and it was just very hard to have that mind-muscle connection. So for those who want to compete, you really need that mind-muscle, that whole body to muscle connection to really learn how to flex the muscle, how to spread the lats out. And of course you need the size. You do have to have some muscle there, because when I first started training and my first competition, it took me about 3 shows, count them, 3 shows to really finally learn how to flex my back. I had no clue what I was doing a back, a lat spread. I can show you pictures. It was ridiculous. So in my mid-20s, after doing a few shows and then finally building up some muscle, I finally got it. I realized how to open up the lats, and a lot of it had to do with because I had more muscle and I had the mind-body connection. And that's simple, it's nothing to be ashamed of, but you don't see your back train, you don't see it working. In the mirror, you see your biceps, you see your dumbbell presses, your side laterals, on and on and on. But you need to learn how to focus. And one thing I always say is you want to have good posture doing any kind of back motion. If it's a row, if it's a pull down, good posture with the chest out. I even tell my female clients this. You got to throw your chest out, pull with the elbows, and imagine that your hands are hooks. They're hooking onto the bar or the dumbbell, and you're just rowing through the elbow. And that is usually a good start to learn how to feel it. So don't get discouraged if you're having a hard time flexing those lats, because it takes time. It's the mind-body connection, and it's actually building up some muscle. Now, when we first started doing our back training, a lot of us is stuck with lat pull downs, because that was easy. You sit on a cushy seat, you pull down the cable, and boom. And I'm guilty of this also. Not until about 5 years ago, I really started incorporating the deadlifts, and man, it didn't make an overall change in my upper body. Not so much with my back thickness, but I saw a big difference in my traps, which are very weak. So you always want to have some kind of deadlift in your workout, and you always want to rotate them. All right. So typically, now here's the back breakdown I'm going to give you. I like personally doing some kind of pull down first. If it's a close grip pull down, if it's a palms up, bicep curl type pull down, or if it's a wide pull down, I always like doing that, and I'll go heavy right off the bat. And the reason being is because that really gets the blood flow to the area, and in addition helps, widening the back. And more specifically, to answer the questions, a wide grip pull down works the outer lats. When you bring your hands closer, you're working more of the inner, back area. Closer together, you're working more of the traps and the rhomboids, which run up and down more or less the spine. So whatever type of angle I'm doing, I always like to do some kind of cable pull down first to help warm up the area. And then if I'm doing a deadlift day, that's usually my second exercise, because the back is warmed up, I do my few adjustment sets, and boom, right into it. If I'm off of my deadlift cycle, I'll go into a heavy row of some sort. It could be T-bar row, old school in the corner, a bent over row, using a barbell, or then like a bench row. Some row where your grip is going to be neutral and you're going to be rowing up until the lower portion of your chest, upper ab area. So when you do that, when you're doing like a row, like rowing a boat, from the T-bar, the bent over, or a bench dumbbell row, you're hitting the overall back. You're hitting the main thickness of it. And then usually the third exercise is more of a finisher. It could be like a one-arm cable pull down, a little more isolation exercise that works the lats. Again, order is very important. I like doing specific exercises for a few weeks in a row so I can monitor my strength, so I can see what's going on. Deadlifts do take a toll on your body, so what I may do is for example, I may do like a wide grip lat pull down, lead off, and then I may do a dumbbell deadlift or a bar deadlift, and then a row of some sort, and then a finisher. I may do that for 3-4 weeks in a row, and then get away from the deadlift, okay, just because it's overall stress on your body. But there's a variety of exercises for deadlifts also you can do. I know I'm all over the place here, but I'm just trying to answer some questions. This is all ad lib. So the deadlifts, of course, work the overall thickness of the back, and what's nice about it, besides hitting the traps and, specifically the middle thickness of the back, it works your lower back, and also hits the glutes and hamstrings. So a lot of my workouts that I prescribe, you're going to be hitting your back and hamstrings, and the deadlifts definitely tied it nicely. Lat pull downs, quickly, wider out, I said, hits the outer lats as you bring your hands in closer, works the middle of your back. Typically your rows are going to work the middle of the thickness of your back. Deadlifts, lower back, but also hits your traps, your glutes, and your hamstrings. One arm rows, more or less, if you're using from a cable or a dumbbell, it works a variety of areas, but more specifically it's the isolation of each side by getting the good stretch and squeeze. So that's pretty much all I'm going to cover today. Hopefully you enjoy it and we have some feedback on this, positive and negative. Keep them coming as far as the ideas for the podcast, the video cast, and hopefully I covered a few things. Not so much with exercises, but hanging in there, learning how to flex the back and giving it time, and really having that mind-muscle connection. It's important for all exercises and body parts to have the mind-muscle connection, but I think the back is the numero uno, where you really have to feel and focus it. And it takes a few years. It really does, unless you're gifted, unless you have the super wide back to begin with. But like I said, it took me about my third shows when I finally got it. So hopefully this was helpful and you enjoyed it, and I'll have another one real soon. Thank you.